Hey, this is Jack Spencer Simmons, JJ Diamond, Jackie Deja, whatever y'all call me. Good evening, good night. It's kind of late, but I wanted to make this podcast. I wanted to talk about this thing that happened in Georgia with this young child back in 2021. It breaks my heart. Well, y'all all know I'm a children's advocate, and I work very hard every single day to make sure that children are treated properly. Whether it be their own parents, the schools, the court system, it doesn't matter. This young fella is dead, and I speak for him, okay? It just bothers me so bad. First, my condolences go out to his family. His name was last name Boykins. Let me double check this here. Yes. It just bothers me to hear the total neglect of that child's welfare during this situation. That's what bothers me. On both parties, not just the police. Okay, they always feel like the police is always the negative one, and sometimes they do be. However, in this case, I see both parties to be negative. Once that trooper stepped on land and noticed that there was children in the car, he should have asked them to step out. Okay? He should have asked the children to step out. Once the children didn't step out, okay, I could see him going to call for backup. However, the person that was in care of those children seemed to be intoxicated and took off while children were in the car. Okay? That's what bothers me so bad. And then to hear the officer say, if he doesn't slow down, they're going to crash in a ditch. At that point, the police couldn't do anything because the man took off. Okay? But them children should have been removed from the car. By law, okay, every child that's born in America, if the parents are not married, the government has custody of those children. Okay? In a case where there's a police officer on site for some reason, the police officer should have been able to take custody of those children until he was able to release the suspect. Okay, in other words, take those children out of the car, put them in the police car until he determined that this person was okay enough to drive away with these children. Okay, so that's the problem right there. The children should have never been in the car when he decided to take off. And if he was intoxicated, the children should have never been in the car. Whoever this man is took on a responsibility being impaired of children. People ask me every day, there's several reasons why I don't drink and I don't use drugs, and I tell people all different type of reasons. One, because I'm a professional driver. I hold a CDL, which is part of it. But also, I drive children around, which means I have to be clean, not impaired. So I'm able to focus on the road while I'm in care of someone else's children and my own. And what you do with your own kid, that's your business. Especially if you have custody of your child. But what you do with other people's children is a problem. If that man knew that he was impaired, he should have never took that child in his vehicle. If he knew he was going to be driving children around that day, he should have never took a drink. If he knew that he had a warrant or he felt afraid of the police or whatever the case may be, the moment that you took those children, you said you would protect them any means necessary. So he wasn't even thinking properly. I got these kids, I have to surrender. Kids, get out the car, call whoever if you have phones. I don't know if they taking me to jail or not, but I need y'all to get out the car, stand to the side because I don't know what's going to happen. His judgment wasn't even right. The police officer shouldn't have to break the window. You have children in the car. So he was supposed to be submissive to the police officers. There's no way around it. Yes, officer, I got kids in the car. Are you intoxicated? I don't know. Whatever. What they say to the people. To the police officers. You can't afford for nobody else's child to get hurt. He was supposed to submit, not take off. And when the police asked him for his driver's license and he didn't respond, the police should have told the children to get out of the car. Whether the children listened or not, but they should have got out of the car. And at that point, there are the police's responsibility. In other words, they have taken custody until they are able to clear the suspect. That's the way it works. You don't put a child in danger if you can help it. All it took was for them to stand back for a moment, both parties, and think. But everybody's so afraid of the police, and the police are so afraid of the criminals. Everybody panics instead of doing things the right way. And that's the problem right there. Now, he realized that he was going to have issues with this particular person. That's why he needed to call backup. Plus, backup needed to be there for the children, just in case they needed to take him to jail. And if he was guilty, he shouldn't have been, if he would have went to jail that night. Okay? And this is just the God honest truth. If he was intoxicated, and I think he knew this, being in the kids with them car, being in the car with them kids, whatever crime that he create behind that wheel, that was going to be one of his crimes, an endangerment of a child, of children, two children. So yeah, he was going to get charged with some things. However, he should have just submitted. I'm wrong. When you're wrong, take the responsibility of it. It makes life a lot easier. We're not perfect human beings, and we're never going to do everything right. It's like myself. I'm not perfect. Only one that's perfect is Jesus Christ, and we make mistakes. But some mistakes just shouldn't be made. We know being behind the wheel of a car, being intoxicated, is a crime. And then now you got kids in the car too. You undoubled your crime. I mean, we all got phones today. Even if you don't have a brand phone, everybody has an Obama phone. So I know they had a phone on them. And he could have called somebody and said, hey, look, I'm a little intoxicated. I was drinking. I ain't know I was going to have to drive. And I'm not trying to drive these kids nowhere. Somebody would have understood. And respected that man for doing it. Because I know if he knew me and he called me up, I don't care what time it is, and he tell me I'm drunk and I got my kids and I'm trying to get XY place and I don't want to drive, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go help that person. Because I would rather go help them than to see them kids in an accident because he was drinking or was impaired. I'm going to be mad, but I'm going to do the job for the safety of them children. Children don't make decisions for themselves. We make the decisions for them. That's why they call them minors. So we have to make the best decision possible for a child. That's just what it is. And see, that's what's wrong with these people today, you know. They don't care about their kids enough. They don't care about kids, period, enough. That's why I'm an advocate for the children. Because people go too far. A lot of y'all know my story already. And for those that don't, I'll tell y'all the story again for the 100th time, and y'all can get the book, Wounded to Survive and Thrive, and read my story, The Faith to Forgive. My parent was always impaired and didn't make the proper decisions. It resulted in my brother losing his life, me being abused physically and sexually and mentally. We have to learn when God appoints children to us that we got to try to make the best decision, not for you, for that child. This is why the courts, you know, they've put in so many laws to protect children. Just like I had my daughter's father laughing, and, you know, I'm stressing out because he wasn't paying child support. And I'm like, I can't do this. I'm about to surrender my custody. And he was like, what do you mean? You know, he didn't understand what I was saying. Meaning, go to the court and tell the courts, look, I can't take care of this child. So I'm giving my rights over to y'all. Can y'all place my child somewhere that somebody can take care of my child the proper way? That's the way it's done. If you can't take care of your child, you just don't leave your child or make your child suffer. That's not how it's done. If you can't care for your child, you give your child over to someone that can. That's the proper way to do it. For the sake of the child. It's not about you. It's about the child. It's not about what people are going to say. You know, it's not about how people are going to look at you. But you took care of the child. That's what's most important. God appoints these babies to us. When we get pregnant, as women get pregnant, there's a child forming, and that child has a soul. And God appoints certain souls to each individual. That's why the mother and the child souls bond from when the child is growing in the belly. And for you to mistreat this child after this child is born, that you bonded with this soul. God appointed you to be this child's parents. We're not going to always make the best choices. And if you don't know what to do, ask somebody. Because somebody knows what to do. Parenting doesn't come with a book. We know that. It comes with experience. But this is why we ask other parents. You don't ask just one. Sometimes you can ask 2, 3, 4, 5 and compare. And see what sounds right to you. They also have parenting classes. I have mentioned it once again, where the government needs to, before a woman leaves the hospital with her first child, she needs to watch a short video of parenting. The basics of what a parent needs, what a child's needs should be met. Now, we got some parents that overparent, like the kid gets sick, they run into the hospital every 15 minutes, and, the doctors are looking. I was one of those parents. A child gets sick. They like, oh, here she come again. Yeah, the baby. And they're like, okay, let's see what's wrong with the baby. Ain't nothing wrong with the baby. The baby had a little colic. Baby be all right. I'm like, okay, whew. I didn't know I was a new mother. I just wanted to be safe. I was young. My first child was born, I was 16. So I was only I knew that these professionals, I was always taught that the professionals, if nobody else can tell you, the professionals will be able to tell you. Sometimes they be wrong. Because they're not perfect either. But on the basic, they've seen more things coming into the hospital than the average person in the street. So even though the people in the street might have told me, oh, she just got colic. And I'm like, I don't believe y'all. I'm put my baby in this stroller and we're going to walk on up here to the hospital. And I'm going to sit in this emergency room as long as it takes. Because I need to know why my baby crying, why my baby whining, won't sleep. I need to know. Because I'm trying to be the best mother I can be. And I need help. I need education. The only way to get education is to seek those that can teach you. You have to be a great listener and understand what they're saying to you when it comes to the welfare of your child. Sometimes we have to do things that we're not supposed to do to make sure that our children keep a roof over their head, eat, have clothes on their back. But then we have those same parents doing all kind of negative things in front of them and teaching them that it's okay to do these negative things. And then they grow up doing it. And then they're looking at them like, why are you doing this? They got it from you. This is what you taught them. Don't you remember? Oh, now you're a little bit older. You forgot what you was doing before and they was watching you. Because that's what kids do. They watch everything that's around them. Their parents, their friends, their parents, their friends of their parent, their friends' parents. I used to have my kids come and say to me, well, such and such parent does, like, okay, well, that's their parent. That's not what goes on up in here. I don't care what they do. This is what I do. We have to pay attention to these things. Because you can work all your life so hard to make sure that your child is raised a certain way, and they'll get out here and get with some other people, get around some other people, and learn some other things, and start acting out, and start doing stuff that you've never even did. Wait a minute, hold on, that's not what I've been teaching you. Where did you get that from? So this is why we got to watch out for all these things. We got to pay attention. It's our responsibility to protect these kids any means necessary. From anything. It can be even the doctors. It can be the school. It could be the police. Just like when I first came to Charlotte. My kid, he was real bad. He was just acting out, doing all kind of stuff. So I had to talk with the police. And I said, listen here. I said, before y'all kill my son, y'all come and get me first. Y'all come and talk to me. When my son was out there acting irate and crazy, they would knock on my door. They'd call me on my phone. We got your boy. We taking him to jail. He did X, Y, and Z. I've gotten several calls from the police. Hey, Miss Richardson, this is Officer so-and-so from wherever he was at, Matthews or Charlotte or wherever he was at. We got your boy. Okay, what did he do? Did y'all have to beat him? Was he acting crazy? Because he'd fight the police. And my biggest fear was the police might have to kill him. So I made sure, as a parent, this is my job, that the police officers know my child is a little gone. He may act crazy. Please don't kill my son. Y'all call me first so I could talk him down. And they did what I asked. They gave me that respect because they saw that I cared. It's okay. This one right here, this mother right here, she cares. Her son is bad as hell. But we know she cares. So we're going to holler at her when he do something crazy. And they would. One day they scared the crap out of me. I'm in the bed sleep. Because he would leave the house at night. Instead of going to bed with the rest of us, he want to be out in the street. So he goes out in the street, gets in trouble. I'm in here in the bed sleeping because I got to go to work the next day. I don't know what's going on. I hear this big banging on my door. I look out there. It's 10 police officers in my breezeway. And I'm like, oh my God, they done killed my boy. I just put my head down and my heart started pounding. And I could feel, you know how you could feel, you get real hot inside. And I'm like, oh my God, they done killed this boy. And I opened up the door. And he said, Miss Richardson? I said, yes. Hey, we just came by to tell you we got your boy. He was fighting us. And he was, I ain't going to tell you his whole case. Because it's none of y'all business. It's private. But yeah. And we taking him in. We just made sure we came to tell you. I said, okay, thank you. Now I'm starting to calm down. Got me a cigarette to calm myself even more. Closed the door. Then the officer was calling me on the phone. Because they know to call me already. Okay, it's already in his little files. Okay, when his name come up, call the mama. So the officer called, so I called him back to let him know that I know. So he wanted to get nasty with me. We've been trying to get in contact with you, and you ain't answering the phone. I said, well, hold on, wait a minute. I said, what time is it? It's 2:40. What is normal people doing at 2:40 in the middle of the night? I said, you the night owl, not me. You the one that want to work the overnight shift. That ain't my problem. I don't work the overnight shift. I sleep during the nights. Now, if he sneaks outside, I have nothing to do with that. I'm asleep. Now he snuck outside. Y'all caught him. Your job is to report it to me. Like y'all did. But you're not going to ask me and get mad with me because I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and that's getting my rest so I can get up to go to work tomorrow. So I had to go off on him. I had another officer. My son wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. And I told officers, I said, now, you telling me to make sure my son is in the house at a certain time. I said, but he's not listening. He's not listening to you. So what will make you think he's going to listen to me? Only time he's going to listen to me, I got to get real crazy on him. I got to go ham on him for him to listen to me. Well, if you do that, then we have to lock you up. Okay, so then don't tell me to make my child do X, Y, and Z if you're going to threaten to lock me up. I had to put him out my house. I said, get the fuck out my house. Excuse my language, but that's what I said to him. I said, get out my house. You got to go. And don't come back. That's what I had to tell the officer. You don't know who you want to take up for. Is it the child or is it me? Make it make sense. I'm going to do my part as a parent. Even if I got to go ham on him. I'm going to go ham on him before I let you kill him. Believe that. So we got to start as parents, people. We got to start paying attention to what's going on in our children's lives. I'm one of them nosy parents. I'm listening to conversations. See, I drive the kids everywhere. So, me and a couple other mothers, we drive the kids where they want to go. They want to go to the movies or they want to go to the amusement park. Drive and pick them up. You're listening. That's how it's done. If you're doing your part, then you'll know what they're getting into. Know the people that you're leaving your kids with. Know that they're safe. Know that they're going to put your child before themselves. Taking care of children is a big responsibility. I used to drive a school bus up in Buffalo, New York. And I was talking about it on Facebook because they was burning up the school buses, and the school bus looked like my school bus. I brought back some memories. I used to have, if I'm not mistaken, 16 to 23 children on my bus. I used to have a bus aide. Okay, no, I think it was 17 to 20 children, I'm sorry, plus my bus aide. And I was the driver of the bus. I had to protect every one of them children like they were my own, like it was me. I was in a whiteout one day. A lot of people may not know what a whiteout is in the South because y'all don't get that much snow. But up in Buffalo, it snows so hard to where you see nothing but white. Okay, that's what we call a whiteout. It's just white. And it actually hurts your eyes because it's so bright, the white. And I had to drive through a whiteout with 20 kids on my bus. All I can do is pray and drive as slow as possible. I used to drive the kids down to Parrish Island that was going into the Marines. One day, I guess my allergies wasn't that great this particular day, and I just wasn't feeling good. And I knew I had to take some allergy medicine, but I'm driving. I'm trying to focus. It's at night. And they asked me, they said, Miss Jackie, why are you driving so slow? I said, because I can't see. And they was like, for real? I said, yeah, I can see, but I can't see that well, so I'm trying to be cautious. I said, I have to protect all you guys. So I got to make sure y'all get to y'all destination. I'm responsible for each child that's on this bus. So we wound up meeting up with another driver, matter of fact, the owner, and he wound up taking over. And I took my allergy medicine and went and laid down in the back, and he took it in. And then I took over once the medicine wore off, and took them on in the Parrish Island. However, the point that I'm getting at is people are handing their children, over to people that's supposed to be responsible. And they hold in their heart that this person is responsible enough to get their child to a destination, or to take their child somewhere and make sure that their child is safe. Even at the school. The schools protect, like my daughter, she was acting up. She was going through it or whatever. You know how these teenagers, they go through their little hormones or whatever. So she was having a bad day. And she said, Mommy, I'm leaving school and I'm going home. And she called me up. And she said, I'm going home. I said, oh, no, you're not. You're going to get back in that school. Well, I want to go home. And no, that school is responsible for you. Until you get on that bus, then that bus is responsible for you until they drop you off. Don't play yourself, and you're not going to play with me. Where I dropped you is where you stay until they release you, because they're responsible. And I don't want to hear no more about it. And that's just how I handled it. If you're feeling sick, you need me to come and pick you up. No, I don't want to leave work. But as a parent, this is what I got to do. Sometimes, you might have to leave work, pick them up, take them home, because the 13, 14, they're old enough to stay in the house for a few hours by themselves until you get off of work. To pick them up, drop them off at home, and go on back to work. We got to do what we got to do. And sometimes the school don't want to be responsible if they real sick. They need you to pick them up. So we gotta think a little bit more about these children. I know y'all keep talking, we tired of these children, blah, 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 blah. But y'all had these children. That's why I like the new generation. The ones that's I'm gonna say 18 to about 26. I mean, you got some of them that have children, but then when I speak to some of them, I be like, you got any kids? They be like, no. And I be like, why you say it like that? No, I don't want no kids. It's too much responsibility, and I'm just trying to learn how to live life. So shout out to this new generation. Then I got some of them that got kids, and they're like, oh my God, I can't even live. My son, he has kids, and he said, Ma, I can't sleep. I go to bed, they go to bed. I wake up, and they in the pots. I said, this is what kids do. That's why you got to be up before them. You know they get up at 7, you better be up at 6. That's just the way it is. But he didn't know that. I had to tell him that. But he asked. But he didn't ask. He told the story so he can get a reply. Like, Mama knows, so maybe she'll be able to tell me what I could do, because these kids be getting up and they in the pots under the cabinet. You understand what I'm saying? So he had to bring it up. Mom, the kids be up in the pots, and I wake up and they in the pots. And I'm like, well, that's why you have to get up before them, even if you have to set the clock. This is why we're supposed to rest. Especially when we have children. Because it will wear you out. You have to have everything in a timely manner. A stability. It has to be stable. Everyday thing at a certain time. When you have little ones. Or it's going to wear you out. That's just what it is. We have to love our children better. You don't love your children with Jordans. You don't love your children with all the fancy clothes. You love your children by showing them that you can be a responsible parent for them. That's the way we love our children. You're going to make sure they eat. You're going to try your best to keep a roof over their head. And try your best to keep the clothes on their back. You're going to try your best to do schoolwork with them if they're having troubles. Try your best to work it out. Any means necessary. You got to get them a tutor, whatever the case may be. But they see that you're interested in their well-being. You know how many kids I run into and they tell me, oh, my mother don't care. She ain't going to help me. I saw a video on the Facebook tonight where they said, one of the children was saying, can you do a video of me? And the person said, no, get somebody else to do it. You couldn't take a 3-minute video of someone trying to, and the child says in the video, it's for a competition to help that child's dream. You know how hard it is to get yourself mentally ready to do a competition? And you want to do this competition and someone tells you that they don't want to help you? You know how degrading that is to a person? Especially a child? So I would hope to see more parents being responsible for their children and helping their children elevate. Right is right, wrong is wrong. If a child is acting up, you check them. Because there's sometimes parents will go to school and their children could have been wrong and they arguing with the teachers right along with the kids. And then wonder why the kids don't respect the teachers. We got to do better, people. We have to do better. And that's just the bottom line. If my child is wrong, I'm going to make sure I let my child know that. If the teacher is wrong, I'm going to make sure I let her know that as well. Or he. I'm sorry, because we have a lot of men teachers as well. I do apologize on that. He or she, I will let know that they could have handled it in a different manner. Or I'm going to let my child know they could have handled things in a different manner. How do we learn what decisions to make? It does come with experience. But we could also take time out to think before we speak. That's the biggest problem. Everybody wants to do everything fast. It's okay to do things, academics, like sports, running, and all that. It's okay to do that stuff fast. Working out. But when you got to think about what you're going to say, we can take our time. It's okay. No, they would say, oh, people are always overthinking. Yeah, but then they just do it and then get a negative impact behind it and then wonder why. But the person that stood back and thought about it for a moment came out okay. Why? Because they stood back and thought about it for a moment and said, okay, let me process this. It's not that you slow or special ed because you processing the scenario or the what's going on. I'm gonna just put it there. It's not that you're slow, you're just processing it. Looking at the good impacts and the bad impacts of the situation. There's nothing wrong with it. Take time to think if you need to. If a person says, well, what's wrong? Well, I'm just thinking about it. Just give me a minute. It's okay to say, give me a minute. I'm thinking about it. My mind went left for a minute, so I'm trying to process it. Oh, okay, I got it now. It's okay. We want more people making the right decision. Because a lot of people are falling short because they're making the wrong decisions. And then they're involving other people's lives. Not only the kids, sometimes they're involving their wives. I had a podcast that I talked about where women are housewives and the husbands are financially taking care of the home, taking care of life for his family, and he's making the decisions. But all the decisions that he's making is not good for the rest of the family. That's why I respected my aunt and my uncle. You know, I was in kinship foster care. My aunt and uncle took care of me after the situation happened with my little brother. And when they took care of me, they showed me, okay, not told me, they showed me when there's a problem in the family, they all sat down and evaluated it. Okay? It'll start over dinner. And if it was a big, big, big issue, after everything was cleaned up after dinner, they would get back to the table and continue to talk about the situation. The whole family. It wasn't, they was in the room whispering. The whole family sat at the table. How are we going to resolve this? And we're going to resolve it fast. That's what they taught me. You know, people always say, Jackie always do things real quick. I be trying. Sometimes I can't, you know, because it's out of my control. But the things that's in my control, I handle it ASAP. I sit down, I think about it. Okay, this is how I'm going to fix this, and I fix it. That's the way I was raised. That's what they taught me. We're not going to let problems linger on in our lives. Because stress kills. We fix it right away. And get rid of it. So we got to do a little bit more of that too. And talking to our children. You know, giving our children hugs. Like today, my daughter came in here. And she said, Mom, can I have a hug? And I was like, you want a hug? And I'm like, okay, come on, give me a hug. What's going on? Well, no, I just want a hug. Sometimes that's all your kids want is just a hug. Or to talk to you for a few minutes. Sometimes I be so tired from working, my daughter be talking. And she'll say, Mom, did you hear what I said? Quiet as kept, I didn't because I'm so tired. I can't even focus. I can't focus on her. I can't focus on nothing. And then I'll say to her, no, baby, I'm sorry. I wasn't listening. I need you to say it again, please. And then that time I'll try to focus. I'm focused in. And sometimes I have to pray about it. God, please help me focus in. Because I need to listen to what she's saying and how she's feeling. So I could try to help her. Even if I have to help her tomorrow. But at least if I know about it today, I can think about it, process it, and see how I'm going to deal with it. And that's all it takes, people. It's not really hard being a parent. And if it's certain things we don't know, we should ask around. That's all. One day I was going through a problem with my baby. And I said, okay, I never went through this. Let me ask some of the mothers at school. At my job. And I did. Hey, how you doing today? I know you got some kids. So you got girl? Let me ask you this. And get the feedback. And I asked a couple of more. And then I made my final decision. My decision might have not been right. But I did get feedback and get knowledge. On something that I didn't know nothing about. We have to protect these babies. We have to teach these babies. You got to remember, when we're teaching them how to care for themselves and care for the children that they're going to bear. So if you're not this is how generational curses come about. And we're trying to get rid of those. We're trying to get our children to love their children the right way. They don't know how to love the right way if they're not being loved the right way. And being loved to every child is different. You got to see what type of love they need. And the only way you can find that out is by being a full-fledged parent. Meaning, spending time with your child, going out eating with your child, taking your child out on events, being around your child and learning your child. It's a lot of work. And it's draining. But this is what you chose when you had a child. You have to watch their every move. See how they act, how they are with their friends, how they are when they're around you, how they act when they go out. You got to look at all of that. Well, I hope you guys understood, where I'm coming from when it comes to these children. We got to start thinking more about their welfare. Because the story was heartbreaking to me. Another child in the care of someone else, and that child gets hurt. It's heartbreaking. When I don't always like doing it, but I make it a priority in my life when these kids say they want to go somewhere and they don't have no one that can take them. I don't want them to just pick up anybody to be taking them anywhere. I would drop them off and I would pick them up and make sure that they are at home safe. You think I do it because I just want to do it because I run a business? No. I do it because I care about their welfare and their being. The other night I had four to drop, well, 3 to drop off, and then home, the last drop off, which is my daughter's home. Here it is at 2 in the morning. New Year's, matter of fact. It's 2 in the morning. I'm running around dropping kids off. Making sure that they get home safe. It was New Year's Eve. I didn't drink. I did eat. Had me a Red Bull because I was up past my bedtime. But we was all out for New Year's. And they needed to get home safe. So I had to be a responsible adult. And that's just what it is. I could have went out like one of my friends at work said, oh, why didn't you come down to Uptown, blah, blah, blah. We was down there drinking and partying. I had to chaperone the kids. I volunteered New Year's Eve to chaperone the kids. No drinking for me. I had to pick them back up and get them home safe. So no, I wasn't going to be drinking in between. So I hope we can do better as parents and just adults, period. You know, you don't have to be a parent, you know, or you don't have to be the child's parent. But think about making the proper decision for that child. This is Jacqueline Richard Simmons, JJ Diamond, Jackie Deja, whatever y'all call me. I'll talk to y'all soon.